Yes, guys, make sure you're following the GBFC Telegram. The link is in the top of the description. In the end of this month, I'm going to be giving away one of my exclusive GBFC hoodies with only 100 of them made, coming to you guys on sale soon. As well as that, we've got a signed shirt by none other than Chelsea's main man, Cole Palmer. If you're not in the Telegram, you can't win. Link at the top of the description. Let's get cracking. Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. Chelsea transfer news. It's January the 5th. We are starting to get in now to this transfer window. And today we have got 5 relatively big, I'm going to say pretty big stories. We're going to start talking about strikers for Chelsea in this month of January. We're going to talk about Trevoh Chalobah, as there is a bit of movement there for the potential sale of Chalobah to Bayern Munich. We're going to discuss a little bit about Thomas Frank and Brentford's comments regarding Toney. We've got a kind of out there story for the summer regarding Kylian Mbappe. I want to talk to you about the Girona striker, Artem Dovbyk. I think I've probably butchered that pronunciation there. The Ukrainian centre-forward, 1m89. He's a bit of a target man, having a massive season. And of course, Girona, a joint top of La Liga. They beat Atletico 4-3 with Alvaro Morata scoring a hat-trick and yet still losing. And I want to finish today's video by discussing a little bit about FFP, because come the end of January, there could well be a few Premier League clubs in trouble. So stay tuned till the end to find out a little bit about Chelsea and what we need to do, or what we don't need to do as the case may be, regarding FFP and not breaking the rules and regulations. But we begin with this story here from Florian Plettenberg. He reports in Germany for Sky Sports. As revealed yesterday, there is new movement between Trevoh Chalobah and FC Bayern. Originally, this chapter was closed for all parties a few weeks ago, as reported. However, Chalobah is supposed to be match fit again by the end of January. Bayern is informed, as they are still looking for a new right-back. There's contact now, talks and ideas about a loan of the 24-year-old. So we can pretty much confirm Chalobah is considered surplus to requirements. When we look at the right-back position at Chelsea, we have had Reece James, Malo Gusto, we've seen Disasi play there, Alfie Gilchrist is now coming on at the end of games and looking as though he is that fighter and that steel that Chelsea might need to be able to see games out. You've also got the centre-back positions. You can include Gilchrist in there, Disasi, Badiashile, Silva, Levi Colwill as well, that we can also add to that list. Chalobah, as much as I think Chalobah is a good centre-back, I think that's probably as far as the praise and the compliments go from pretty much any manager that's managed him during his time at Chelsea. So, at this point in time, Chelsea apparently, and we'll talk about this later in the video, apparently we don't need to sell in order to be able to buy, but Chalobah is another one of those players that would be pure homegrown profit for Chelsea when it comes to financial fair play. And if he is surplus to requirements, then I think a move to Bayern Munich works. It probably will be a loan until the end of the season, with an option or an obligation to buy. One of the big issues with Chalobah is he always seems to be bloody injured, which could be a bit of a concern if he goes to Bayern Munich on loan between now and the end of the season, and then he picks up yet another injury that keeps him out when Bayern are desperate to sign a right back. So we'll see how this one moves and develops, but it looks as though with Chalobah set to be fit again, a move to Bayern Munich could well still be on in the January transfer window. We move into the next story of the day. Now, there's been a lot of talks with Toney. Not necessarily talks between Chelsea and Toney, but Toney is the topic of conversation when it comes to teams being ready to splash on a big striker. For me, there's never been any doubt that Toney would be a great signing, be it for Chelsea. Arsenal are also rumoured to be heavily interested in Toney, but Brentford have set a price of £100 million for Toney to be sold this January, as Chelsea are looking into making sales in order to challenge Arsenal for his signature. Let's focus on the Chelsea bit here for a second. If we're going to spend £100 million, hypothetically, to buy Toney, it would need to be facilitated by offloading a Chalobah with obligations and Ian Maatsen potentially, with obligations. We've gone and spoken no end about the potential sale of Gallagher, but that isn't happening. We don't need to talk about that for now. 100 million quid for Ivan Toney. The bloke has been too busy gambling and not playing Premier League football. He's 28 years old. 100 million pounds. And at this point, as much as 30 million, 40 million extra on top of this number is a massive number, I'm sorry to say it, but if you're going to spend 100 million on a 28-year-old striker, you might as well just add on that 30 million extra for you-know-who, Victor Osimhen. I think it is a very good sign-in for whoever gets Ivan Toney. I think he'll probably stay at Brentford. That's my opinion for this January. I think Arsenal, they won't be looking to spend 100 million, and I think they'll also look at their current state in the season and be like, well, even if we do get 100 million, that's basically us saying if we buy Ivan Toney now, we have to win the league. And I don't think they actually genuinely believe, Arsenal, that they can win the league with Liverpool, even Villa, Man City, of course, being such stronger candidates to win it at this point in time. As for Chelsea, I just think there's a better option available. A player that is desperate to come, potentially, to the Premier League. We've heard Osimhen say it himself. And I just think that move fits us a lot more. I think when you look at 28 years old, you're buying Ivan Toney and you're going to get 2 or 3 years potentially of delivering you 20 plus goals. Whereas Victor Osimhen, it's literally the potential of double that amount of time for those kind of returns. He's 24 or he just turned 25. So it's like, in my head, that just makes significantly more sense. And 100 million for a player that's not been playing football is ludicrous. Brentford have obviously got their asset here. They want to keep him. Toney has even come out on a flipping podcast with Stephen Bartlett and said Arsenal would be nice, Liverpool would be nice. So for those reasons and the price, I'm really hoping that Chelsea steer clear of Ivan Toney this January for 100 million. And if the best we can do is get a pre-contractual agreement for Victor Osimhen to join us in the summer, then I think that is something that I would prioritise when we don't have European football as of right now. We're in the FA Cup, we're in the Carabao Cup, but we're 10th in the Premier League. I think that is a better long-term project for Chelsea to be looking at. The next story, and I know what you're going to say here, Benson, relax, calm down, he's going to Real Madrid or he'll stay at PSG. Kylian Mbappe, this is reported here by Simon Phillips, quoting the Mirror. Mbappe is out of contract in the summer and could leave Paris Saint-Germain on a free transfer. Real Madrid are the favourites to sign the 25-year-old forward, but Premier League clubs, including Chelsea, will be aware of his situation. If this tweet didn't include including Chelsea, I'd have probably just let this one sail down the river and not talk about it whatsoever. However, the Mbappe to Real Madrid saga has kind of been something that I think has taken so long with all of the different weird contracts and little mutual agreements and gentlemen's understandings that Mbappe has had with the president chairman of Paris Saint-Germain. I feel as though it could be one of those things where in the end Real Madrid just end up getting pissed off. I also think there is a world where Mbappe just does not leave for free because it's gone on so long. Kylian Mbappe at PSG, the league isn't good enough. You want to be the best player in the world, you've got to go to either a Real Madrid or come to the Premier League and prove that you are the real deal or the Real deal, depending on whichever way you want to look at it. Mbappe to Chelsea, look, I don't think for 1 second, if I'm being realistic, I don't think this is ever going to happen. I could see Mbappe come into the Premier League, and I think with the way that Chelsea are moving, I wouldn't be surprised if we made an approach, but I don't think it's going to be on a free transfer. There's so many times where Mbappe's almost left to go to Real Madrid, and it's never going to have been free, obviously up until this point, because he was under contract, but Mbappe's attitude, I'm just not sure. It could be one of those mega money, ruin the wage structure at Chelsea. And I don't know. I'm not convinced by it. It would be amazing. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think it's going to happen. We move into the next story of the day. And this comes from Girona's Pierre Guardiola. Not Pep Guardiola. We've not received any proposals from Chelsea for Artem Dovbyk, despite recent links, 0 proposals. I think his name's Artem Dovbyk, but we don't want to sell anyone. Of course, Girona, who are currently top of La Liga, or joint top with Real Madrid ahead on goal difference, they don't want to sell anybody. Of course they don't. But if you look at the stats here, from this guy. First of all, he's 1.89 m. Proper height for a centre forward. Should be decent in the air as well. Current market value is 28 million euros. And the stats this season do not lie. 6 assists, 11 goals in 18 La Liga matches. 1,114 minutes played. That is a fantastic return for Artem Dovbyk. And I'm going to say this right now. The guy only signed for Girona from Dnipro in the Ukrainian league in the summer. And Girona currently are tearing up La Liga because they just have an amazing system that works. And as a result of which, I think these numbers are inflated as a result of Dovbyk being a key component within a jigsaw where all of the pieces are kind of coated with lubricant around the outside to fit together. Chelsea going in for this man. An interesting name with interesting numbers. To me, this seems like it would be one of those players, a bit like a Nicholas Jackson, where if Chelsea were to go in for Dovbyk right now, why would you want to leave when you could make some incredible history at Girona until the end of this season, by which point your value probably goes up even more. But I do think Chelsea should be in the market for a more clinically proven number 9. But it is an interesting option. And Victor Osimhen is the one that I always bring it back to. There have also been rumours that Benjamin Sesko could be something that Chelsea endeavour to pursue in later transfer windows. But how much money would he cost? For Artem Dovbyk, it's an interesting one right now. But again, I just see too many similarities to the Nicholas Jackson signing, who we have concluded is a good player, but maybe not ready to lead the Chelsea line right now. Purple patch, great first half of the season. But I think we see just how well Girona do between now and the end of the year to see if Dovbyk makes any moves in the summer. The final story of today's Chelsea transfer news video comes from Fraser. No, it's Fraser Fletcher. Chelsea believe they are fully in line with FFP. Selling players is to keep them in line. They do not need to sell to buy. Now, this is the interesting thing that we need to think about regarding the end of January, where the Premier League have been investigating multiple clubs to see if everything is as it says it is within documentation about these FFP rules. Chelsea have obviously been the one at the forefront of everyone's like, well, they must be breaking the rules. If Everton get a 10-point deduction, then surely there's a 30-point deduction coming for Chelsea next. We know that a lot of the rule changes in the Premier League have come as a result of closing legal loopholes that Chelsea have been intelligent, smart enough to be exploiting, or exploring, I think is probably a more fair way of saying it, because to exploit something, you can imagine it being something a bit more negative, slightly illegal. But it's not been the case. So for Chelsea, selling players is because the way that FFP is judged and the way that it is looked at is something that is always a consistently moving thing within the footballing financial sphere. So right now, there are obviously players at Chelsea, your Chalobahs, your Matsons, just to name the two obvious ones right now, who aren't necessarily in the short, medium or long-term plans of Pochettino and the club. So as a result of that, selling these players for the pure profit keeps Chelsea in line. I do think that there is a world where there's a lot of things we don't know about the finances and things that Chelsea have or haven't done. Same with loads of other Premier League clubs. And I wouldn't be surprised if something comes out later this month or in February or whenever it may be that penalises Chelsea for something to do with financial fair play. However, I bring it back to what I say in all of these Chelsea transfer news videos. It's why I'm doing them daily. We can see the movements of conversation about Chelsea interest, sales, incomings, whatever. I think whatever business is done has to be optimized, priority-based signings. Take a look at the first 11. What isn't good enough? What can be improved? What can we afford? And go for it. We're building a team for the future. Yes, okay, we've seen that now in multiple windows. But if we're going to sell, bring in the right man. Bring in the right names. We'll see if anything happens for Chelsea or to Chelsea. Regards FFP later this month. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on all of today's Chelsea news in the comments down below. If you want to watch any of the other news videos, check out the channel. The tier list video that went up yesterday afternoon is a good one, looking at this season's performances so far. We've got top players, good players, must improves and bad. Always a video that you guys can either critique, disagree, agree, whatever it may be. And stay tuned later on today. We've got FA Cup football tomorrow against Preston. I'm considering bringing the live streams back for this Preston game. Let me know in the comments if you'd be down to watch it. It's in the middle of the night. It's a stupid time for me. 1:30 a.m. Do I go to sleep? Do I stay up? I don't know. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you are new. Come on, you Blues.